Okay, folks, good morning. So, sometimes you just have a problem you encounter, and the best way around it is just keep moving. Don't get your momentum stopped, and that's what happened to me with this car. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. God, this chair is just out of control. And it really didn't give it much thought. And then it hit me what I'm going to call this thing. And then I'm like, all right, well, we're doing this one next then. Because this thing has been, I think this Hot Wheels has been around forever in many different versions of it. Now, this is a 2018, which I probably got this in 2018. It's got the engine showing and so a lot of things have really kind of come together for this one, and this may actually end up being one of my favorite vehicles by the time I'm done with it. So let's get to work on it, and we can talk about it as people show up. If people show up. So this has this, a lot of like just raw stuff is on here. It has a pretty decent interior that used to be chrome. That's just not going to fly. And it's got no back seat, which is kind of weird considering it's a wagon. I don't know if this is based on a real vehicle or not. Jerry rigged. But we're going to put a minigun on here. So the first thing is like, okay, you got jerry rigged on the side of it. Like, what are we going to call it? What are we going to call it? I mean, I don't want to repaint that. I'm like, oh, it's real simple. It's going to be Jerry's Kids. So this is Jerry's Kids. And it's going to be armed with a minigun. Because you have this huge thing for a minigun to sit on here. And it's a non-turreted minigun. And it's going to have a ram, which allows this Carolina squat to put it to some valuable use. So we have this ram that literally fits underneath here. This is actually how it fits. It fits like almost like the ram bow on a ship. And it's literally the same height as the front is stepped up. And then we're going to put this junk on the front of the windshield and then junk on the back. I don't know if I'm going to put any on the sides. I haven't decided that yet. And we got some plate back here, like this is like bolted down or something like that. What is this? If we do not block this in, yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Let's see what the inside of one of these vehicles looks like. What is this? This is a Chevy Nova 64. Good morning. Well, I guess you weren't on here when I came on here. I looked at this and I'm like, I've got to use the name of this on here. It says Jerry Rig. What can I do with this? Oh shit! It's Jerry Skids. It's going to be Jerry Skids, and I don't have to explain that to you. You're old enough to understand. And it's going to have a minigun here in the top, and it's going to have a ram. And what makes it the skid part? See, I wish skid and slide had been done differently, but one of the things this vehicle can do is there's this skill called. This is actually going to be the first one that has two skills. So that's all it is. It has one weapon on it, and it has a skill called called bullet time. If this vehicle resolves the slide result using its movement step, and that's that one where you got to where you basically go to the end and you do like a 90-degree turn, or you can come out and do another one. So if you're in your movement, you do any of that, the little block that you attach to it. If you play that, then one of its weapons can count as turreted mounted for the rest of the activation. So since it only has one weapon, because that's the RAM takes up one slot, the car only has 2 slots. See, the game's actually thought out really well from the standpoint of you can't put too many things in one thing. Like, you want something else cool, like go make another car, So if you want to put a RAM on it, that's one of your slots. If the car only has 2 weapon slots, well, that's it. If you want to put this turreted, it costs 3 times the cost. Which this is 5, so that's 15 points. So we're not turreting it, so we're only putting 4. It's only costing us 5, sorry. So just making them all a little differently, All right, so let's look at what the inside of the 64 Nova looks like. And get in some ideas for the colors of them. Because that's one of the things that I like to do. 1964 Nova interior. Okay, and looking for things other than black. Got some blues, got some grays. Well, it's already gray. I know it doesn't have the original interior. It's like they NASCAR'd it up or something. Actually, Nova wagon. Plus, it's going to have another thing on here called field mechanic. And that means basically every turn with, if you disable one of the crews, so in other words, it's got 2 crew members, so obviously you don't want to disable the driver. You disable the other guy, you basically, don't use him to fire any other weapons. Well, there is no other weapon other than his handgun, right? So you're not giving up a whole lot. So if he doesn't shoot his handgun, which you would only be able to if somebody was within medium range, he can use it to repair 1 hull point. You can't go above your original hull point, which is 10, but so that's something unique because it is, jerry-rigged. So, they're trying to, put it together. Chevy Nova station wagon. Here we go. Well, that thing looks pretty cool. Although I wouldn't be caught dead in a station wagon. Sorry, I got childhood. I'm still suffering childhood trauma by having too many station wagons in my growing up. How many do we have? 2 only. That's too many. Okay, this is a light colored one. And this is going to be a redneck mobile. Can I get a yeehaw from you? I'll tell you what we're going to do. Almost the inside of this is all steel. I'm going to paint the seats, but I'm going to do the interior steel along with the engine and the engine compartment. So let's go ahead and get our trusty friend, Iron Warriors. And before we do that, there's some of these things that we need to prime in black. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Yeah, I wouldn't be caught dead in a school bus. No, I'd rather ride a school bus. It's a fucking station wagon. And I got an ex coworker of mine. He has a Woody for station wagons. I mean, in his defense, he would say not all of them, just the cool ones. And in my defense, I'd say none of them are cool. But you know, it served time in one. Yeah, f that. I did see at the place in Ocala, the place that actually had a station wagon like the one I grew up in. I would have picked it up if they didn't want $10 for it. $10 used. The Red Knicks. Yep. What do you think about the whole reverse Confederate flag idea? You think that's a good idea? I mean, it's not going to offend any. Doing it the right way isn't going to offend any of my viewers. That's not the problem. I'm not worried about my viewers. I'm worried about, the bots and having to do the whole thing that whole painting panzers did. Remember that whole painting? Of course, I wouldn't have put marching music with my stuff, but that's beside the point. I'm not going to go and have to fight the system. Let's make sure we get the back side of these first. That's the kind of stuff. Dealing with apps like F this. I don't want to do anything that's going to cause me to go, you know what, I don't want to make any more videos. And that's the kind of stuff that would, just nonsense crap. Nonsense crap that is, that I'm not getting paid to deal with. Well, the thing about the Ironsides thing is that it did just kind of happen that way. And it actually looks like a tree fort to me. It almost looks brown, like a tree fort. And I'm sorry I'm not working on World War II stuff right now. Hope I'm not too much of a Debbie Downer doing this. But hey, it's still the same scale. We're still working on stuff. I think this was the right move for me. I wasn't going to get. It's just too much work to do the World War II stuff right now, with the way work is. So it's not like we're going to get rid of any of it. It's not like we're going to go back to building ancients and stuff. We're staying in this scale. Everything in this scale really works. Can use a bunch of stuff together with it. Although the World War II stuff, I see a lot of people that paint World War II stuff and I get motivated because, they do a good job with this. I don't see the same amount of... There's lots of different takes on doing this apocalyptic car thing, and I don't really like the stuff that most people have done. That's not to poo-poo them. I'm just saying that I'm not ecstatic. I don't get enthralled by seeing other people's work in this as much as I do World War II stuff. If that makes any sense. It's okay. I watch some of your old videos for fun in the early mornings. Well, the good thing is I did make that Ironsides thing look really old because the casting quality on it was pretty poor. It was it's not crisp. It has the lines and stuff through it, so. FDM, is that I think what it's called? Like this I'm painting the backside. I can see there's little lines and stuff in it. It works fine with, what it is. This almost looks like they took some kind of a grating off the ground and they made some cast iron grating and they decided to make this out of it. One hell of a chain gun. So the vehicle I make that's going to have the BFG on it, which is basically a weapon that's 10 die 6 and only uses one build slot, I think. And only has one ammo or something like that. Like, it doesn't cost anything, hardly at all, but it only has one shot. And it uses a lot of build slots. I think it's something like that. That's what it is. It's very cheap, but it's only one shot. I'm going to put this same skill on it. So if that vehicle does this slide, it can shoot it as being a turret. Because it's normally a front-mounted. It's a front-mounted weapon only. So I've got a couple of old trucks, and it's going to be on one of those, the BFG. And I'm probably going to hand make that because it could be, you know, some ridiculous big Sarbomba looking thing. Maybe not a Sarbomba, but you know what I mean. What was the name of that big cannon that the Soviets had? It's some big cannon, not the Soviets, but the Russians or whatever. The Tsar something or another. Something that looks like remember those Confederate looking mortars or whatever that just looks like a soup bowl that's in the damn ground? You know, it's about this tall and about, you know, twice as wide kind of thing. Something like that. Stick to the scale. Yeah, I'm playing with dollies. I'm out if I start playing with dollies. You know, people could do whatever scale you want, but as soon as I see that dolly scale, I'm like, you're pandering to people that don't play historical stuff anyways. You know? Other people can do 28 millimeter. Lots of people do 28 millimeter already. They don't need me in there. All right, now while that's drying, let's go ahead and get Iron Warriors doing here. Now the rust is going to show up nice on that vehicle. The last couple ones I've done have just been really dark, and all the rustification doesn't turn out really nice. Now, I did put off doing this guy. This guy skipped ahead because I thought of that name, and I'm like, oh, let's do that. But I want to look at all my Japanese vehicles and see if I can't put together a Gotcha Man looking team. In which case, if I'm dead set on using this car, I just get another one. It's not like you can't find them. That's definitely the right pink for Princess, without a doubt. Princess Pink. I should try this wreck idea. Finish one of these up and see if this works. Ben's. Where the hell has Ben be? This parole officer got to him. So an interesting thing on YouTubing that I found out the last couple days. It might have been yesterday. It might have been the day before. So I did a when I do videos like this live in a traditional sense, I would call this traditional. I don't get that many views, but I get some people that stay on for a while, and some people we interact with, and some people are just in the sidelines. I don't know what they're doing. They just like listen to my voice. I have no idea. They're not giving me any feedback. there's only, 3 or 4 or maybe sometimes 6 watchers and nobody's saying anything. And as long as I'm motivated to do this, no harm, no foul. But sometimes I need interaction so that I stay on board and don't quit the show. All right? And the other one is go out with my mobile connection with the phone and actually film mobile. The problem with a mobile connection is that the quality isn't as good. It gets dumbed down to 720p, whether I want to or not. I mean, I got a phone that can do 8K, but the quality gets dumbed down to 720p, and the video is reversed, and there's nothing I can do about it. Well, what I could do about it is switch the way it's filmed, but then I don't know whether things are in register or not, which that won't work, considering I don't have a camera person. So that's my 2 options. When I go and film the things live on my phone, I mean, I'll give you an example. I may do one of these videos and it'll get like 36 views, right? Which is pretty low. But I'm mainly doing these so that I can stay on track, and we can hang out and shit like that. So I get 36 views. The one I did the other day, I got over 650 views in 2 hours. The live view. It's significantly more, and I've seen as much as like 2,000 views or something like that. And you could get some new subscribers that might be interested in it and things like that. When you look at the actual stats, which is watch hours, the watch hours on these videos, like the one we're doing right now, are 6 times higher than the one with 600 views. So, because the mobile connection automatically spits it and suggests it to people on Facebook and things like that that are phone friendly. This isn't phone friendly because it's horizontal. Well, I'm sorry, horizontal's better, for almost every application that it would benefit me for, or it would benefit this venue for. So even though you're getting discouraged that, oh man, I only have so many views, I get so many more views when I do it live, the live views don't really matter as far as, because there's a lot of people clicking in and clicking out. Instead of having, 3 or 4 people that are watching the whole damn thing. That's actually better for stats than it is a lot of people clicking out and clicking in and clicking out. The clicking in and clicking out is good from the standpoint of, oh, I didn't know you did these things. I'll subscribe to your channel, right? That's how you find things. Good morning, Mr. Barnes. So just kind of an interesting little tidbit there that you wouldn't know unless you had your own YouTube channel. And if you have your own YouTube channel, you wouldn't know about it until you looked at some of the details, which, I haven't since, even though how long have I been doing this? Coming up on 10 years probably. So it's just something to do. It's just interesting. I don't care a tremendous amount about number of views. If I did, I'd get somebody of the female persuasion on here and we can talk about cars or something, which I thought about doing. It wouldn't be somebody related to me, but I have somebody in mind. And it would definitely jack up the views. Maybe not for my regular viewers, but, for new people. Like, ooh, a female. Like, yeah, they're out in the wild too. Like, go touch the grass. You're going down to VA next weekend, and you sparked my curiosity enough to go through my old Hot Wheels, probably 80s vintage. It's a lot of fun looking through stuff, The narrative of this game, it's not World War II, but it does provide a narrative that's hilarious. Really funny things can happen. And I just don't really like the fluff world that the creator created. for the game. I think the game is just fine. But that's literally the easiest thing to do. You make whatever you want. I mean, you can play with in Jurassic Park if you wanted to. I mean, like I don't like this. There's no dinosaurs. We'll put dinosaurs in it. You don't have to run it the way the author intended the game to be run. He's not paying me to do it. I may not even like the guy. I don't know. He might be the world's best person. I don't know. I'm just over here doing my thing. Okay, so we have the interior of that. How much of this is showing? Yeah, I'm probably going to do this. Is this not really a roll cage, but this the reinforcement on the driver's seat here. I'm probably going to do that in bright red so it stands out. I want to ride me a race car. Well, we can't. We just got this old beat up pickup. This old beat up station wagon. You want us to do something with it, Jerry? Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll get this joker working. Okay. Yeah, these old cars, I never had an old car like this. Um, they look unsafe as shit from the standpoint. I mean, I never had one. I was talking to a friend of mine who's had an old car. He was sending me pictures. He's older than me, but he's showing me pictures. He had some cool cars. Yeah, it's funny because I don't really consider myself somebody who is a car person. There's aspects about it that I find interesting, and there's aspects about it that I'm not interested at all. I'm gonna go ahead and do the black lining on this while we're waiting some of these things to dry. We've got to keep that momentum going. So I don't really consider myself a car guy, but there are things I like, and there's things that I don't like, and there's things that I'm interested in, and there's things that I'm not interested in. And he was showing me a picture of this car that he had, and I'm like, oh, isn't that like a junior version of a GTO? And then I typed it, and then because I don't mind telling people, hey, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this, and then have an educated guess. And then my educated guess was spot on, and I'm like, shit, I know more about this than I thought I did. And I don't sit here and make lists of okay, what is the instead of like what's the lineage of like a Panzer III. I said, well, it went from Panzer I to Panzer II, and these versions like that I know, but like cars, I'm like, okay, Ford Fairlane went from a Dart, and like I don't know that stuff, right? I have no interest in that, you know. Modern cars that are I could potentially own, maybe I look into a little bit more detail, but a lot of the car stuff is like computers. Like if I'm not in the market for a new one, I don't worry about what's out there. I think the closest to Gaslands I'll get is 5 parsecs from home and grunts, both in 15 millimeter. I've not heard of either one of them. Oh, we don't have to play the same thing. I mean, come hang out like you do. I don't judge. I'm not promoting this. Like I said, it's not my rule set. And I'm also, this isn't DBA, so, something doesn't make sense, I'm changing it. We're not doing that anymore. Michael, my Polish friend, you haven't been here in a while. But I don't do stuff for it to be popular. I do it or to get hits. I do it because it's what I'm working on. So, if I wanted to get a lot of hits, I'd do Warhammer. I'm not interested in Warhammer. I'll never do Warhammer. Wrong skill, wrong venue, wrong company. Now, I play a fair amount of Hero Quest at the last convention. And it was fun, but I didn't have to do anything other than roll up and start showing dice. Don't think I've seen you paint anything non-historic. Well, there's a first time for everything. Or maybe you haven't seen me paint anything that's not intentionally realistic. Because there's some definitely non-realistic things going on in this game. But it's a fun game. Most of my time, I'm spending time with my wife rather than painting during weekends. Yeah. Well, you got to do some of that too. I have a friend of mine that's a gamer, and we've been trying to. And he used to paint, but he doesn't paint anymore. And he's the one that got me into playing War Thunder. And it is a great experience playing something like that with somebody that has a good attitude and that you know personally, and you go like after people, like, let's go after that guy, And he wasn't into the planes. I get into the planes. It's just funny because it's like of the three venues, the one I'm the least interested in, but it's the most conducive to cooperatively play with somebody. But his time schedule and mine are reversed. I'm a morning person and he's an evening person. So sometimes he's like, "Hey, you weren't on." I said, "When did you start?" I said, "I started at 11. I'm like, I'm asleep at 11. I can't stay up till 11. So he does like family stuff first, and then takes care of himself last. See, I'm an egotist. I'll take care of myself first. I'll come in up early to do whatever the hell I want first. So it's been a little bit of a challenge trying to find times to, this whole thing where they said older people woke up earlier. I don't know. All the older people I know freaking sleep in. My mom is notorious. My mom will stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, I stayed up till 2 or 3 in the morning when I was 20. You know? Like, that'll screw up my whole weekend. When I have to go to a work and be, when I have to go to work and be there at a certain time, I don't stay up late. That screws up my whole week. And that way you do this in the morning and you have something positive to look, your day's off to a positive start. How many Gasland cars do I have now? How many do I have completed? Or how many cars do I have on the building block? Two totally different answers. And by a total different magnitude. Completed, I just completed 19. Now, let's discount the first 6 or so. Because I've had the first 6 kind of done forever. Or maybe 5. So in the last 2 weeks, I'm getting one done. I got 2 done yesterday, but I'm getting done I'd say average one every other day. That's some pretty good numbers. That's some pretty good numbers. They don't take that long to do. Once I realized, all right, let's build them ahead of time. Let's design them ahead of time. Let's name them ahead of time. And then let's just clear coat them to get the ball rolling, not strip the whole thing down. That whole process, that saves half the time. That saves half the time. And honestly, it helps me make a decision. Like, I don't know what color I'm going to paint that Z. Should it be purple or should it be white with blue stripes? I'm like, oh, fuck, it's pink. It came in pink. Now, if I really wanted to paint this blue with white stripes or something like that, okay, I'd strip the one. But as a general rule, and there's all kinds of graphics on here that work just fine. That saves half the time right there. You don't have to go out and, I'm stripping it just the same like if I was going to put it in the stripper, but, I don't have to apply the goop on there, which is fine, but then you got to wait for it to do its thing, which isn't that long, but then you have to go rinse it. You have to get everything off of it. It's just easier just to keep going. So I've got 19 complete. I've got 19 that are basically ready to play with cards already designed. And that's the whole thing is, when we played this like 8 years ago, the thing I disliked the most about the game is nobody came with their homework done ahead of time. So if we had 4 hours to play, we'd play like after work when like I need to start winding down because I've been up since 5 a.m., right? And the first hour and a half is people designing and asking how to build a car, and hopefully they build it correctly. Also, that everybody builds the same car. Like, okay, we need to recoup that time. Let's recoup that time. So I'm gonna have them pre-built, and you're just gonna roll to see which car you get. And I'm gonna have these little point brackets. Like this is another 27-point car. I've got like 10 cars that are 27 points. So I know not everything's equal the same, but they're equivalent, within the game system. Play both games. Play 5 parsecs, good for solo. Move from grunts back to laser burn. I'm on the lookout for any science fiction, Matchbox, Hot Wheels, and Konami vehicles uses Rex too. There's an article that came up, or a suggestion, a reel, actually. It was a Facebook reel that came up about somebody on the Gaslands group that bought something. It's like, hey, I bought these things. I'm going to make 50 wrecks of them out of, or something like that. And it was some car set that was sold at, I guess you guys have a retailer there in the UK called B&M. And it was like this, it almost looked like one of those big packages that come with like different type of chocolates, right? That's what they look like. And I'm sure they're not Hot Wheels quality cars. Somebody was going to use them as wrecks, instead of, making them out of aluminum foil, which I got to try this out. This might end up being really cool for what it is. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that they have that in the UK. And I looked it up, and the same set was available here on mail order. But none of those were science fiction. But I noticed that I need to get motivated and paint one of these and just see how it turns out. So this is Ben's idea, wherever he's been. Wherever Ben's been, and I just took some aluminum foil and pushed it into the mold of a car, and so that it looks, like it's been in a car crusher, and I don't know if it'll look like a car. It's going to look like a wreck of something, maybe a metallic, a rusty metallic turd. And I need 3 of these that come out of the garbage truck because it drops them. Plus you could do, other things with them. I just don't want to take a car, no matter how cheap it is, and bang it up with a hammer. I just feel bad. It's like abusing some kid's plushie. I don't like stuff like that. I don't like destroying something that's in good shape. It's hard to find something that's not Matchbox or Hot Wheels here in the States. You'd think there'd be a whole bunch of Chinese brands. I mean, there's a few in the dollar store, but not much. Walmart has some of those Mastos, but they cost the same, and they're not the same quality. And I don't really have much of a preference between Hot Wheels and Matchbox. You know, the Matchbox ones are more realistically shaped. The Hot Wheels ones are sometimes over the top, but sometimes over the top works for this. So, I use them both. Well, there's a panel line here too. But I've never driven an old car like this. I don't think I would be very. It'd be very satisfying. I'm big on what's the word I'm thinking of? Not performance. Handling. I'm big on handling, and these American muscle cars do not handle well. I don't get drifting either. Like, if you're driving like that, you're going too fast for the turn. It's like driving on ice. See, by the time you're done with all this little detailing, the other stuff that you did is dry. All right, now before we go to that, we need to flip these items that are probably dry now. No, that one's still a little wet, but that one doesn't need to be flipped over, and that one doesn't either. It's mainly these two armor platey things. And I'm going to use this Vallejo primer that I have. I probably will not buy another Vallejo primer ever. There's just better stuff out there. This isn't very durable. I haven't had anything chip off once I seal it, but it just doesn't give me warm, fuzzy feelings. And there's other products out there, and it's not like I'm not using any Vallejo products. It's just I'm not using. Let's put some fresh right here. I'm just not using this one for this application. I think the one-shot primer from Ammo is much better. It's also more expensive and comes in, it's equivalently priced. It just has half the amount, or maybe even less than half of the amount. The problem with these cars that I have right now is twofold. I don't have anywhere to put them when they're complete, and I don't have a good way to transport them. They'll all solve themselves out. They'll all resolve themselves out. But okay, now while this is drying, we can go back to the black lining here. Man, they made such a big deal yesterday about that whole no kings thing. Like, what the fuck? Who cares? Some people just need to go get a hobby. I went out yesterday, and it's like between avoiding the football game crowd and the protesters, I'm like, well, they're both over in a part of town that I don't need to go to, so we'll just stay away. We just won't have an interaction with any of those people. And people getting into fights about stuff on the internet. There was this group that was complaining that they decided to do this No Kings protest in the middle of this market where people come and try to sell their wares or whatever. And they said they sat on a corner right in front of where their vendors thing, and they got nobody to come over to buy their stuff because they have all these complainers in front of them. I'm like, I wouldn't come buy wares either, man. Deal with all the people causing trouble, you know? You know, there's a lot of people, and I'm sure this is all over the world, there's a lot of people that the internet is such a problem because it gives everybody a voice, and some people don't deserve a voice. I'm just saying there's people that are out there legitimately causing trouble and trying to, you know, hey, you see that guy over there? I think he may not like you. Why don't you go tell him that? Like, you know, most of us, if we would just talk to each other, we would get along with each other just fine, you know? So there's a lot of people that just, for whatever reason, they got to be heard. My wife has this loudmouth friend, and anything contrarian, she has a hard on to go and get involved in. And you know, nobody talks to each other anymore. I got this one guy that I game with, and we went to lunch one time, and he's like, "Oh, I'll talk about anything except politics and religion." Well, you know, joke was on him. We talked about both, and neither one of us got upset because we're not on a crusade. There's too many people that are on a damn crusade. Now, I don't really want to talk about politics and religion anyways. It's not like things that really interest me, you know, but you can have civil discourse, and just some people they just want to fight, you know. And I don't know whether it's just, you know, no bullying and you're not allowed to punch people in the face anymore, and these people have never been told no or been punched in the face, so they don't know how to behave, or they just don't know who their daddy is, so they don't know how to behave. You know, there's a lot of people out there that just want to be heard, and I'm like, I don't want to hear them, you know, like. You know, like if somebody was saying, like, you're stupid for not playing 28 millimeter, you're 28 millimeter. Like, I don't want to hear it, you know, like, go away. So if you look at all those people that always do all the protesting, it's always people that are like, man, wouldn't you be better served, like, working a full-time job? Like, some of us, we're just so damn tired of dealing with our normal stuff we got to deal with. We don't want to cause any problem. Just lock me up in my house when I get home. Let me take a shower. And let's go paint some figures. There's never been anything out there that I feel so passionate about. I feel like I have to go stop it. I gotta be heard. I gotta hold a sign up. I gotta tell the man whatever, man. Just stay off my property. And the media likes to make a big deal out of stuff like that. You know? And they do it on purpose. They'll be like, hundreds were there, at one place. And like, there might have been 101, right? And then like 1,000 people on the other side, but they don't portray it that way. They want to make everything exciting and a controversy and hey, look at this news article. Click on this. Click. Who just gave me who just vibed me? It's nothing of importance. So that stuff doesn't work on me. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. These hippies in this town are always that way. They're always getting riled up about everything except taking a shower. They had this big to do a couple of weeks ago because there's these big oak trees that are in this one particular shopping center that have been there forever. Like they kept the original ones or whatever. And 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, some guy decided to do I'm guessing it's a guy, someone decided to create these creatures that look like monkeys that were dangling from the trees. Because it's a banyan looking tree. It's a very, and for whatever reason, they made these, I don't know what material they're made out of, maybe rope or something like that. But, where like ferns can grow from them, right? So you've got this, and somebody gets on it, somebody gets in an article and has this big to do about like, oh, those are racist because they represent, I'm like, they're freaking monkeys. Why would they represent anything else? And people just like going off on each other. It's like some people just looking for a hill to die on. I gotta be heard. You need to do something useful with your life. Do something positive. I don't ever make comments on those things, on those public things like that. Like, you're not going to change anybody's mind. When's the last time somebody had an argument, somebody changed the other person's mind? I don't think it's happened yet. So I'm like, I'm not wasting my time. That's why, I'm doing these redneck Confederate guys. I'm like, I'm not putting a rebel flag on them. I don't want that trouble, I don't want that. I don't want that trouble. I don't want somebody saying it wouldn't be anybody coming by because we're gonna make fun of those toothless fuckers. Sorry, Marcus, if that's your ancestors. The whole point of having rednecks in a game is so you can make redneck jokes, talk like a redneck, make fun of how ignorant they are. It's not to promote white power. It's just that's not why you do it. All right. This has got one of those engines that would sound like, I can't do it I'll wake up But we need some shinier things on here. This is going to be, let's see, what part of this is going to be the body color? Probably everything from the spinner back. That can wait. This also will be, that's for the Japanese car. Okay. Let's put this together. I like doing this from time to time to see how make sure we're on the right track. Them's my boys, exactly. But that's why you play stuff like that. Like if I have to play a Civil War game, I'm playing the South. Why? Because you can do funny voices. You know, it's already looking better. It's already looking better. Jerry's Kids. Jerry's Skids. I gotta remember that. Jerry's Skids. Is this thing dry? Because it's getting there. Yeah, but the news is out there just to fuck with all of us. I mean, if I listen to the news, all I think would happening in England was everybody'd be stabbed. There'd be stabbings like constantly. Sharia law would have been in place everywhere. Sharia law, stabbings. What else? Um, I saw something the other day where it was like the um, what's his name? The Your king died and he was replaced or something. I mean, just fake AI shit. Like they're out there just to get freaking hits and get a rise out of everybody. And meanwhile, I go to England and it's like it's not that different, you know. Same thing. We got what 3 weeks ago. We're like one of the few states that didn't have open carry. We got open carry, so you can literally go and have a sidearm strapped on you if you want to. I don't know why you'd want to, but hey, I'm all for everything being legal as long as you know how to behave. I've yet to see one person with it. Like, oh, it's going to be the end of the world. People are going to be shooting each other. I said, people are shooting each other in places where guns are illegal. So what difference is it going to make? Okay, we're going to need this guy here. This is the super bright one and the middle bright. And the one that gets skipped over is this lead belcher. Because lead belcher used to be the really dark one, but it's not anymore. So it just kind of gets skipped over and we use this iron breaker and mithril silver now. Y'all too? Yeah. I went to the flea market 3 weeks ago. I saw some people that they don't make it out in public very often. Easy table. All right, let's see if we can detail some things here. Yeah, you should try to do the right thing trying to clean this out, and it's like, every paint jar has something wrong with it. Some design thing that could be improved. Let's go ahead and take all of this out. Yeah, no wonder this is not closing well. All right, let's leave this open for the time being. All right, on here, I'm sure Marcus was at the No Kings protest yesterday. Get a hobby, man. One of my favorite things to do is to paint these little headlamp things on here. Yep, no Burger King for me. You decanted all your Games Workshop contrast paints into 5mm dropper bottles. Got fed up with the stress of Games Workshop. So I did that with one color. And I'm not doing it again. And the reason I'm not doing it again is maybe I just followed the wrong instructions. But it asked me to thin them down. And in thinning them down, when I put them into the other droppers, it's just like the most dribbly thing, and I get it everywhere. So, maybe I just shouldn't have done that. But I don't really mind. These bottles aren't that bad. These aren't. Every bottle has issues. Every bottle seems to have some issue or another. Even the Vallejo ones seem to have issues. The Ammo Mid one, the paint's too paint. You shake it, the paint's too wet. You get it everywhere inside. When you put it back, it's all over the place. The Vallejo ones, sometimes they get too thick, doesn't come out. You squeeze it, squeeze too much comes out. You waste a bunch. Hopefully, you don't get it on something that's important. They all have their issues. These paints I used to have called Howard Hughes. They were screw-on tops. They were almost like pastels, and that you needed like revitalize them every time you use them. And they didn't last too many times before they dried up on you. But they smelled great. Every one of them has their issues. My favorite paint still is Cote d'Armes. They're just not available. I can't go to a store and pick some out. Yeah, I can't go to a store here in the States and pick them out, in person. No Burger King for you. Burger King's awful. And it didn't used to be. Burger King is awful. And we actually had to eat, because it was the only place we could find to eat at the time, at a Burger King in Spain. And it was the worst Burger King experience we ever had. It was like the only meal we had that wasn't traditional Spanish food during the 3 weeks we were there. Or 2 weeks and change, or however long it was. Because normally places like Burger King, McDonald's, whatever, I've heard that if they're in another country, they're better than here, which wouldn't be very hard to do. Wouldn't be very hard to do. Kind of thrilling to paint these little things on here that nobody would paint. Like, how many of these are out there? How many people have this actual model or this toy? And none of these cool details are painted on it. Let's try to rinse the metallics over here. Nope, still got some there. God, I hate the sound of this chair. All right, so next, that chain gun part can wait. How are we going to attach this? We got a relative flat spot on there to do that. We can hot glue that on there. That is definitely going to be Very, very rusty. Very, very rusty looking. So I think the thing to do now is we will paint this in the iron bits color. And then while that's drying, we will go and paint these parts that we attach on the front and the back and the body of the minigun as well. All right, let me use the little boy's room. Let me close this up. We don't need this thing open that much. And I'll be right back. And if I was single, that'd be the worst place to go pick up somebody is a protest. Unless you want somebody dressed up like a pig. Chicken, whatever. All right, let's do the color matching thing on this guy. Is the bottom side clean? It is not. It is soiled. Okay, well, let's move this off over here. We're going to need glasses for this. You want a gray, but one that is slightly brown. I'd probably get a cat allergy. Maybe. I'm not allergic to cats, but I am allergic to stupid people. And I have to deal with enough of them getting paid. I get, and I understand protesting the people that they're protesting. I mean, the guy's an asshole. There's no doubt about it. The guy's an asshole. But there's a reason he got elected. The other side was coming up with ridiculous things. And just like, you know what, we need a fucking asshole in here. It's like, no, you guys are ridiculous. Which one of the 52 genders? I'm like, I'm out. You don't have anything intelligent to say. Just stop there. The other side's like at war with anything. It's like, you look at a Norman Rockwell, and I'm all for including people. I guess we're going to be political today. No, you're entitled to your own opinion. I'm just telling you, things that just don't make sense to somebody who's, who was raised right. You look at a Norman Rockwell painting. Everybody knows who Norman Rockwell is. And it pisses you off. Everything you see there pisses you off. So I'm like, I'm fine having things that including more people in it, but you can't include every fringe freak, and then anything that was traditional Americana or traditional anything is like out the window because that's racist. I'm like, no, that's not flying on my watch, pal. Oh, I hit it. What is this? Dark sea gray. Dark sea gray. Let's see how. This has a little bit of purple in it. Oh, it looks great here, but not so great here. It definitely has purple in it. It almost looks a little bit like Mountbatten pink. It's got a little. And again, why do you gotta have blue hair? Why is everybody the protester? Why do you gotta look like such a fucking freak, man? Are there any normal people? Nope. Well, let's try medium sea gray. Let's put this one out here too. And light gray. We'll do one of these. It doesn't have to be a perfect match. It just needs to be like something like, well, I can get close, How about getting a cat allergy? I'd probably get a respiratory problem. Like I did at the old modelers conventions. I don't know. That might have just been going to Orlando. You know, Orlando, you're susceptible to catching things, catching flora and fauna from other continents. A lot easier, you know. Don't forget the facial piercing. Don't even get me started. I'd have a really hard time dating if I had a date now. I'd have a really hard time. I'd have to go to some ultra religious, like people that don't drink, freaking alcohol church or something like that. No, they're there too. No, no, I just give up on dating. I probably. And notice, I'm not saying you can't do any of that stuff. I'm just saying that I don't want to. I don't want to look at that. All right, all three of them are beautiful colors. I was talking to somebody about going to Mexico and how they're eating bugs and stuff there. Not everywhere, just the area that we went to, and not everybody there. I'm not saying everybody's a bug eating person. Like, well, would you try it? I said because my people didn't conquer a whole continent to turn into them. Oh man. I'm not eating bugs. Why? I eat fucking leaves before I do. I eat salads all the time. Eating bugs. What the hell? I I think this is the one that we're going to try, but we're going to add a little bit of black here because black makes everything better. I don't have white to many things. But black to start in that to do the build up. Oh, and of course we need the water. I think we're going to start with this first because even if they're off a little bit, it'll work. Has this already been flipped? It has. Okay, cool. I just want the inside black so that when you're seeing through there, it's not like an eyesore. All right, let's add. Let's do a color check. Let's take a little bit of this, the color that we think we're going to like the most, and let's find somewhere. We'll put a scratch of it on there. That's a lot closer than this. That's got too much blue in it. That's got too much blue. So this one it is. This is irrelevant what we call it. Let's do this one. This is a little bit easier to deal with. way too wet. And put this guy in a cage. Well, he's probably an animal. What'd you call me? Shut up, spit stain. Speaking of which, we'll put some spit stains on the side there. You know, one of them dippers, one of them dipshits. And just like everything else, doesn't look like it's finished until you start adding the weathering to it. It just kind of ties it all together and makes it stop looking like a toy. Where has Ben been? I hope he's all right. Maybe finally got a life and stopped watching me. I don't know. I appreciate you guys coming on here. You keep me on track quite a bit. I like to say I can't do this without you. I can. I just can't do it as well without you. I have this monster truck that it's really hard to get a monster truck because usually they're way over the size that they physically should be. And that's a problem when they only have 15 damage points. If they have, 45 damage points, there you are. Okay. Well, man, you've been silent, my friend. You doing all right? Yeah, you talk so much, you're not allowed to be quiet anymore. The monster trucks are huge that you find in a store. They are like literally twice the width of this. And I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't have 100 damage points, right? It has 15. So I did find the one. I don't even sure if it was a Hot Wheels or not, but I don't need to have a bunch of monster trucks. Although that unicorn one is they make a unicorn monster truck and it's actually based on a real unicorn. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to get that one for if I ever do a team of the alphabet soup people, that's definitely got to be on that one. Big unicorn thing. But they're usually too big. But that one that I called Pussyfoot, because that's what it has on it, I just don't know what the hell to arm it with. It's got 2 build slots. I feel like it shouldn't have a ram. I don't know. Just been distracted. Any Brits know if Aintsy Casting are still in production? Aintsy still in production. I think Forlorn Hope also carry them if you aren't sure. Aintsy. There's so many. I feel like there's so many companies in the last 10 years that have gone under that you're never going to get their stuff again. And it's a shame. And, I mean, legitimately good stuff. Not stuff that was like, yeah, well, we didn't buy their stuff when it was available. Like Ratham. I said lots of people were like, oh man, Ratham's not around anymore. So I didn't see people flocking to buy Ratham stuff, Cromwell models stuff was so fucking perb. Other than the fact that it was 176 scale, I prefer 172nd. I do. The figures are bigger, right? So the scale makes. I mix the two, but I prefer 172nd. Cromwell's incredible, expensive, but absolutely incredible. No, they got away from me because I stopped doing World War II stuff. Doing DBA shit. MMS. MMS stuff is. I used to think MMS is better than it is. I don't want to put things together that are made out of white metal. It's just a pain in the ass. They ran out of stock of their aggro rules for footy hooligan skirmishes. You need rules for that? Just go outside and go get into a fight. You footy hooligan. There we go. Let's bring this up to. It's going to be pretty close. And remember, this has a ground wash on it. This doesn't, so. So what's the future 28 millimeter? You think 28 millimeter is eventually going to go away, or is it here for forever? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think more scales are better for the consumer. The consumer needs to win. Yeah, it's probably going to need a little bit of a brown wash on it to straighten that out. Except this is the one that goes on the back. Hey, moron, trying to pay attention. Yeah, that one goes here. This one goes on the front. Woo! Too dramatic. Yeah, so we're making pretty good progress. I got a call from a friend of mine who said, "Hey, I found something. I'm gonna mail you." He's like, "What is it?" I said, "It's I got 20 more cars for you." I'm like, "Man, please don't send any new cars." He said, "Well, they're coming your way." I'm like, I'm gonna. Luckily, they're small, but it's getting out of control. It's gotten out of control. I told him, I said, just because you send them to me doesn't mean I'm going to work on them next. There's a good chance there might be 100 cars in there I'm never going to get to. And I don't have anywhere to put these. I don't really want to take down the things that I have there. So, and in some ways, these are better than anything else I do because they can be dramatically different from each other. It's like, oh yeah, great, another green tank. It's getting closer to 30 millimeter at times, but in reality, it's a sweet spot for modular plastic kits, so I imagine it's here to stay. Well, I won't be doing it anytime soon. And I'm a little miffed about that scale because I feel that a lot of the things that we do, a lot of the things that historical miniatures game companies do is cater to these folks that never play miniatures, that never play historical stuff, to get them to branch out, and then they never do. So, you know, now if Gaslands was done in 28 millimeter, I wouldn't be doing it. And this isn't exactly 1/72 or 1/76, but it's close enough. And honestly, I wanted to do this before the Gaslands rules even came out. I was talking to somebody, I was like, "Oh, is there somewhere you could like play Gasland games to get people into it?" I said, "Well, you could advertise them and play them in the game store, but a lot of those people are weird, man. I don't want to play a game with a bunch of weirdos. There's not weirdos like people that don't shower. Like, come on, man. Like, do you have a job? Yes. You can't behave like that in public. I don't care about people being nerdy. We're all nerdy to some degree or another. But let's be a decent human being first and then play games." this is gonna look nice with the rustification on there. Okay. Das Gun. I think we're going to dry brush this. We're going to dry brush the areas of gray that we need to, or we're going to be here a month doing this. And that's just not a very useful use of time. So we're going to start off with, we need more of whatever color this was. It wasn't the dark sea. I believe it was this medium sea gray. Yep. Dark Fuchsia didn't get very far before they pulled the plug on it, meaning they didn't make very many things for it. They made like the box set. I heard about it. I wanted to play it, never got a chance to play it. Probably wouldn't like it now, but still, it was, you know. And I don't mind having some guys that have mohawks and those punk guys, but I can't have every team being punk guys. There's like got to be a punk guy team, and that's it, you know. Not like everybody looks the same, you know. There was a drama on Twitter recently with a few people saying that they didn't. Hold on a second here. There's drama on Twitter. Watch this because it was gay, which might explain some things. What? You know, I tried to use Twitter several years ago, and they force you to say, like, what are you interested in? I'm like, well, let me find it. So they're constantly sending you things. They're constantly sending you noise that you're not interested in, and it's just drowning out the stuff that you're looking for. So I'm like, I don't find a whole lot of use for it. How is Twitter compared to Reddit? I've gone on Reddit by accident, looking for other things. Like I'll do a search for something and it leads me to Reddit. I'm like, all right, I'll read what's on Reddit. And there's some pussy-footed people on Reddit. I'm just saying that way, you know. I mean, like, I mean, if you took all the people on Reddit and like there was like a shooting war, some of these people wouldn't defend themselves, right? They'd like, you know, hey, come into my house and do whatever you want with me. I'll just be over here. These fuckers would have gotten eaten alive in the 70s and 80s. But anyhow, so yeah, there's definitely some sissies on Reddit. You like to talk bad. They like to talk badass, but not washing your ass because it's gay. Yeah, no, nope. But you know, if you walk by somebody and it's your butt that people smell, you got problems. You got problems. You got some, you know, you need to clean yourself out a little bit. Change your clothes. I haven't encountered very much of that lately. But I don't really game with people that I would say stink. That sounds like something Skeeter was saying, ain't watching my ass, that's gay. I do have a little thing that's going to be called Skeeter's Scooter. I don't know which one it is yet, but there will be a Skeeter scooter because that just makes too much sense. I don't know how people don't. I don't know how people don't shower every day. I see no reason to. I fail a morale check if I don't shower every day, at least once a day. It's unusual to have to take 2 showers a day, but I can't go to bed dirty. It's uncomfortable. Okay, I think I am probably going to end up having to give these guys a brown wash to kind of bring them a little bit more in line with each other. It doesn't need to be in line. I just would like it to be more in line. One thing you haven't made, it would just be a prop, is a little trophy and a podium. Well, I need the figures for it. I need fig, and I would have already bought some wrappers. They're too expensive. They're way too expensive. You look at them like one wrapper is like $15. I'm like, no, no. I don't know how durable they are. They're the right size. I just use wrappers as an example. I don't know that I've seen a bunch of rednecks. There's not that much figure variety, and the Stan Johansson. Luckily, I bought some of each, but I didn't buy everything he had, and those will no longer be produced anymore. And his figures are really good. They remind me of who's that guy that does the modern stuff? I don't know if they're in production anymore or not. RH something or another. He's like Dutch or something like that. Each trade twice in summer. Yeah, exactly. Like who wants to be, who wants to be like that? All right, this one we're going to 10 bits this, even though it's not called 10 bits anymore. Because this thing's just made out of pot metal. And I just got to find where the hell 10 bits went to. Here it is. Rough iron. Grid girls. Yep. Yep. Although I wish there were some hotter looking ones, but yes, I've looked. I mean, I don't get grid girls. They're gonna be hot. Oh, ugly looking grid girls. Come on, man. It's like because all this AI stuff, like you see all these AI pictures, all these girls with AI and things, like you're not even looking for it. And they come up and like, there shouldn't be any ugly AI girls. Like, okay, you have the opportunity to do anything you want. Why would you? Yeah, they're too expensive, and I don't want them painted. That defeats the purpose whatsoever. Grid girls, that's what they're called, huh? The ones that are really attractive are the ones that are in motorcycle shows. I am not in a motor. We were watching some show and it was like some guy had like a thing for motorcycles. Like, oh, every guy does. I don't have a thing for motorcycles. I don't find motorcycles even remotely attractive. And some of the motorcycle girls are well put together. be the hot tub. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, it was 25 cents. Like, I could come up with some, I could, like, not even use the hot tub portion and find a use for the rest of the car. That is truly strange. And it's not so strange that it had a hot tub on it, but it was in the middle of the car, and there was a steering wheel poking out of it. So it's got to be like a steering. I mean, you need some power steering if you're going to have the steering wheel underwater. You know, that just seemed like it was one of those. Hey man, you know it'd be cool. What? Well, hold on a second. Oh yeah, I remember. It's just one of those type of things. Some meeting over there in Hot Wheel heaven, where there were people trying to design what they were going to design. They're running out of ideas. Although you didn't see it on video because we didn't film it, Mitch has a lot of fun with the hippie dudes. He has a lot of fun. I don't think he played them, but there's some interesting things that happen with the stoners. So, um, it's like a perfect fit. Actually, keep the car from rolling forward. I just don't really want to raise it, and then have to worry about. It gives you an excuse for this thing being jacked up in the first place. Although I may change my mind on it, but regardless, we don't have to make that decision right now. Uh oh, what happened here? I heard you. Uh oh, what'd you send me? Careful, I'm gonna send you something back. Oh my. Yeah, you can only play long straights on that one. Yeah, I really wanted to get some wrappers. But I'm not painting 20 millimeter tattoos on people. That's too big an ask. Well, when we play rappers, we'll have to have rapper names. Mine will be like T Money or something like that. What would Mitch be? Rutabaganus. Demetrius Rutabaganus. All right, I'm gonna give these parts a brown wash and just see where that takes us. Strong tone. Doesn't take long to. If you go civilized, it doesn't take too long. Rutabaganus maximus. Hot Wheels made one of those. I'd give it my Viking long car. I bet they do make something like that. I bet they make like a Hot Wheels stretch limo or something. They still make those inappropriate figures. I mean, I'm sure they make new ones, but what were those things that were always in catalogs and they wouldn't even show you pictures of them? They were called something like Phoenix Follies or something like that, and it was like girls doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing in miniature, and it was like who the what? Why would you buy something? They make this. Oh, it even says Hollyweird on it. Well, that's freaking perfect. That's actually pretty cool. Great. Now I realize there's something I need that I don't. Oh, this one even comes with 3 pack of them. What the bling, Batman? Yeah, the figures are too expensive. Well, I can look at that while I'm waiting for this to dry on it. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm not hopping around on this as much as I was with World War II stuff. So that alone, I like it. And I wasn't hopping around on the World War II stuff because I needed to. It was just I did. Stuff wasn't ready. I'd rather do one car at a time. This won't take long to dry on it. We can start working on it. Stuff's pretty amazing. These war paint stuff that you could just they're just ready to go. Yep. Yep, that's what we needed to do. Just give it a little bit of a tonal change. Totally tonal, man. This thing's actually going to need a bit of work on it because it's going to need black lining really to. There's a lot of little trinkets and things on here. Rose Miniatures. Is it safe to check that out? Yeah, the ones here in the United States were called Phoenix Follies. Lost Minis Wiki. Didn't know that. Oh, 54 millimeter. That's a big scale. What'd you call those? Grid Girls. I saw somebody made a set. They made some interesting sets. They made a set that they were way expensive. I don't know if they had them in 1/64th, but they made a set from Top Gear. Even and the only one that I really wanted from Top Gear was the Stig. The Stig was freaking. It was great. Just he was in a Stig pose. Grid Girls. Yeah, they're pre-painted. Like, I don't want to paint that. Like, campers. Oh, here's your rednecks. Hazmat crew. Interesting stuff. Car meet. Looks like there's a couple grid girls. There's one guy that looks like he's Filipino. Another one looks like an old Cuban guy. Yeah. Guy in white looks like a little Filipino guy. And the guy with a light green guayabera. Old Cuban. Bald Cuban dude. Die cast metal. I can probably paint on them so damn thick. Who the hell? Colorado die cast. Oh. I have to wash my hands after handling those things. I'm going to fail a drug test. Car Meet 4. Lowriders 3. Now we're talking. Yeah, but I want them unpainted, man. Lowrider girls. Here we go. Well, those could be for anything. Girls' night out. Okay, we're starting to spiral now. Okay, those aren't really provocative or anything like that. All right. What is the name of this company? Mijo Exclusives. Or Mijo. Mijo. This screen available in Saudi Arabia. Change countries and continue? Absolutely not. Nope. All right. Well, there's a lot of stuff to look on there. Yeah, I'm all for painting figures. I'm all for painting some of those wrappers, cutting them off and putting them in the car, and stuff like that. I don't really need them, Hey, let me move this guy around. Let's see if he gets run over. You know. Have a skank race where you've got to like run over these girls so they can try to make it across in these 19-inch heels or whatever across the thing. Not that kind of a game. Skank race. Oh man. All right, I think we can safely paint the headlamps on this cute little thing. One of my favorite things to do. Here we go, over here. I was pretty disappointed to find out that whatchamacallit does all the voices on his thing. That's a bit disappointing. Oh, you don't need your paint there. I don't really like things that are heavily fake. Makes you kind of put into question everything that's coming out of somebody's mouth. Like if you know somebody's not telling the truth, then you question anything that ever comes out of their mouth. Phil Hendry. Phil Hendry's super talented. No, I was talking about 3D Bot Maker. Yeah, the callers are real. Phil Hendry, man. See, when Phil Hendry what came on, what I realized is that I figured he was obviously he was the moderator, and he had like one or two people that did a bunch of different voices. I didn't realize he was also the controversial figure. So, man, the first one of the first ones I ever heard, he used to be on this talk show station that we used to have, and it was right after 9/11, and it was this one about Citizens Auxiliary Police like frisking everybody at a mall. And it just kept getting more and more and more out of control. And the callers, I mean, it was a train wreck, and I just couldn't get enough of it. Because first they'll have somebody, they had that one was really good, and they also had one that was an attorney that was representing um, um, a handicapped guy who was suing Jerry's kids for never getting any better and giving him a false sense of hope. So Phil Hendry's doing Phil Hendry, the narrator. He's doing the attorney. He's doing the handicapped kid in the background making a tuna fish sandwich that's having outbursts in the middle of the call. I mean, like the guy's multi-talented. Um, yeah, I like that kind of shit. Just discovered there's a Ghanaian musician called Shot a Whale. All right, folks, time for breakfast. It's bacon day. Ah, I gotta build a cop car now that you mention it. It's funny because I never associate that with cops with calling them pigs, but I think I'm gonna do that in this. And no, I am not anti-police. It's hard to find police vehicles. I'm glad I don't have any. I don't need to be distracted with that yet. They'll come. We need to have clowns before we have the police. Yeah, need to clean up that one little thing. Other than that, these are spot on. There we go. What a cute little guy. All right, let's go ahead and put the front on here. At least hold it nearby and see if we're getting into. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and glue these things on. Vehicles that are of this type, this like hot rod. Oh, they're just made for this game. They're not my favorite kind of vehicles, but they work really well for this. Like if I see them out in the wild, I don't give them another look. But they work really well for this. Citizens Auxiliary Police character is called Jay Santos. That's right. Yeah, that episode was really fun. I didn't realize you were a fan of that. That was really, really funny. Really, really funny. Oh, and then they had somebody on there that was like, They're talking about a weight loss program about just throwing up all your food. And it's like, well, does it hurt your esophagus? So, well, you need to get a rich boy. You need to get a boyfriend that's really rich, so you buy expensive food. It doesn't hurt your esophagus as much. I've only listened to like 4 or 5 episodes of them, but they were like gold. Guy knows what he's doing. And these people were just like, I mean, they're ready to come and come to blows. Oh, man. Yeah, that whole Citizens Auxiliary Police, and we're going to strip search. You touch my daughter, I'm going to come down and kick your ass. Sir, you're threatening an officer of the law. You know, I mean, it just escalates. I mean, he just switches in between characters like in moments. Like that's the part that's doing different characters. Okay, that's not that impressive. Like I know some people really well that can do that, but I'm on a moment's notice. Well, maybe it's just practice, But that's some funny stuff. Jay Santos, that's right. Wow, you know a lot about Americana there, my friend. See, that's funny. Stuff like Howard Stern, you could, that's just, he was always a jackass. An unfunny jackass. Was checking women's purses to see if they had vaginal. Yeah. I guess you've seen quite a few of them. I only heard the one that was right after 9/11. They were in the shopping malls. Oh man, that was a funny episode. Jay Santos. I think we need to make a car for him. I think he needs a car. Jay Santos. But I don't think the cops. I don't think the cops are going to have weapons. I don't think the cops are. If I have cop cars in here, they're not going to have miniguns and MGs and shit like that. I might let them shoot pistols. But they're all going to have rams. They're going to be equipped with the rams and try to ram with whatever that thing is that the cops try to run you off the road or whatever. But I just think that's might be a rule like you can't shoot at the cops too. Something like that. They're just. I think that they're probably really good for an NPC role. I think they'd be really handy in that role. I want to get this, like this, a crane. So you have a cop car like this, and you see I give away all my secrets. And like this crane, like basically like dangling, like almost like a fishing thing, and dangling a donut in front of him. So almost like when you're chasing the carrot, same thing. There's like a little thing, make a little donut where he's trying to drive faster to get to the donut, and the donut's on the other side of the glass. You know. Oh, I think I misjudged where this glue is here at the bottom. Damn it, man. All right, let's. Fuck. All right, let's do this again. But I have no cop cars. That doesn't mean send me cop cars. That's not. I don't speak in code. I do not need more distractions. Just for reference, J uniform is a pith helmet, Bermuda shorts, wingtip shoes, and a yellowish rain slicker. Oh, he doesn't have one of those, a safety vests or something like that? Pith helmet, huh? J Santos. Oh, this little bastard's superb. This thing is superb right here. This thing is going to be a delight for the eyes. Oh yeah. And plus it's going to have this big boom bar here on the roof. I don't know if you were on here earlier, but the whole point is this thing has a skill called bullet time. And when it plays a slide result, if it plays a slide result, it can treat any one weapon like it's turreted for that turn. So it's perfect. You put a minigun on it, play a slide, and even though you're over here, it can be treated like it's a turret. It's perfect for that. And I'm going to do that, by the way, with a vehicle that has the BFG. The BFG is a forward firing gun only, and it's going to be on a vehicle that will have bullet time. I'm probably only going to have one vehicle that has a BFG. But it's going to be, the BFG vehicle is going to be something like, no, it's got to be bigger than that. It's got to be something like this. That's why I picked this thing up. It's got nothing back here. It's going to look like some huge fucking mortar that you'd crawl 3 people into. You only have one shot. It's only 10d6. It's not that nasty. I mean, if you hit with all of them, yes. You roll like 6d6. If 6 of them are 6s, yeah, you got problems. But something like this with like a big old... some big cylinder or whatever. It's like the only weapon it's going to have. Plus, something that's coming up soon are these used trucks that I got specifically because of the shape. Yeah, here's another one it could be. This old beat up dump truck. I mean, it looks like that's what it used to be before, as a dump truck. And normally be like, oh, you could chop this up with the Dremel. I don't want to chop things up with a Dremel. That's fucking dangerous. We need all our fingers. Thank you. Where's all the loose ones here? Short bus commandos. I got a truck here that I picked up that has like a ramp on it, and that's going to be handy to. Here you go. Here's your portaloo, and there's gonna be poop in there, or something that looks like poop, so it can spill that on people. I've had this thing a long time. Here it is. Here's this blue truck. Okay, check this out. This is like a hauler of some form or another. Oh, I didn't realize that it did this sort of a thing. Okay. So this is going to be like a portable ramp. So I think the first ramp I'm going to do is this. So we're just going to park this somewhere on the racetrack, and when you come across it, it's a ramp. And that'll allow us to figure out how ramps work. But there's really no reason for this to raise up like this. I believe this came from the place in Ocala, and he had a whole bunch of other ones. 1986. Yeah. So this is going to be something you put on the racetrack. We need a ramp there. All right, we put that ramp there. See how the ramp works. I have a feeling we're going to have to mess with our ramp rules a bit. They're a bit like, here's a ramp. Well, what are the rules? Well, we haven't really fleshed them out, but they're there in the rule book. Kind of not logical, but anyhow. All right, I gotta go use the little boy's room. I'll be right. Yes, here's another old pick. I mean, that's why I picked this thing up. This is like, okay, one of these weapons is going to be able to carry a BFG on it, and it's got to be a heavy truck or something like that. This thing's really old. Matchbox, 1990. It's funny because some of the Matchbox used to be made in China. This one says made in China. Now I don't know if they mean Taiwan by that, but they probably don't. But the new Matchbox, they aren't made in China anymore. Here's Pussyfoot. See, this is a reasonable size. This is a reasonable size. And this is just an off-brand. That's why it's not so damn huge. But this is the right size for a monster truck. Because this is a 12-point vehicle. This is a 15-point vehicle. As a base. Usually they're like 3 times bigger than this. It's too big. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take this thing apart because the red interior just no fly. All right, be right back. Jay Santos. Yeah, that one with the freaking handicapped kid in the background. Like, I want a tuna fish sandwich. Just like it's a train wreck. You squeaky bitch. Stop. It might be too low. It might just. It works, but I feel like it makes it look like it just slowed it down quite a bit. So I may not do that. I may end up gluing it up here. Man, it's got cute little lights though. I don't want to. Well, we don't have to decide that just yet. Just yet. You got this glued in, perfect. Got the front glued, good. The interior is not glued in yet. I don't feel the need to glue these things together unless I have to. I'm gonna make the. Let's see what colors we got going on here. Is it visible? I'm gonna make this this reinforcement of that in red. Oh, we got super glue there. Get away! Get away from me! Whoa! How'd we get that? How'd that hitchhike? I didn't know you were into that. That's not that common a thing. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people who listen to him, but I've never come across somebody who's listening to Phil Henry before. What about the Jerky Boys? I remember when the first Jerky Boys came out. What was it, like 89, 91, something like that? I've listened to anything other than the very first one that they had. And they had a couple skits in there that were really, really funny. In particular, one that's called Saul Rosenberg's Glasses. That one's really funny. And I actually quote parts of that pretty frequently. And my daughter really liked the one that was the last one. That one where it was like, Uncle Freddie died, and the kid goes off and like has like this this tantrum scream of the call. My daughter likes that one. But Phil Henry's actually a lot funnier than that. A lot funnier. His monologue, I've listened to his monologue a couple times, and his monologue stuff isn't very funny, but when he goes into the characters and people call in and he just like, throws fire onto everything. It just there's something, funny about seeing people getting angry. So people get wound up. It's pretty damn funny. All right, let's see how that looks like from the outside. A lot of enjoyment for a freaking $1 for this thing. There you go. You have a little bit of red showing there. Okay, this thing is finally dry. That's another reason the front is jacked up, because the back's carrying the huge weight of this thing. I don't know, how can the roof support this? I don't know. It's magic. It's the magical world. Let's get the adjustable super glue. I want it like this. It's actually protruding. It's actually sitting on that a little bit. Well, we'll just have to. Shit happens. Yeah, that looks the part. All right. I'm not going to put any side plates on the side here with the. I think it looks good like that. Yeah, probably should have put a little shim on there, but I don't want to fuck with that right now. If you're worried about that much stuff, you know, we're not going to enter this into an IPMS convention. Actually, the last IPMS show I went to, I looked at the stuff people built, and I was like, yeah, you guys are lucky I didn't compete. I don't want to compete in that stuff, like, you know. I got plenty of awards. I don't have any of them up, and don't care to. All right, we still have a little bit of this red. Let's go ahead and do the tail lights. Let's go ahead and do the tail lights here. Wow. Yeah, every day it's getting worse. Okay. We'll paint the door handles in aluminum. It'll look more believable. Okay, we get it all out? Golly. structure. I generally don't like to paint things apart from each other. I like to paint them when they're in the spot where they're supposed to be, so I can make the final determination of whether or not it looks right as it's getting painted. But that's how I tend to like to do things. Okay. Well, I'm actually fine with an interior that is black, with a black interior. So let's just lighten this up a little bit. Not that this is not noticeable. Just something like that. I'm actually okay hot gluing this down at this point. Let's go ahead and do that. I think served me well. It was relatively inexpensive. It wasn't the cheapest one I could find, but it's the Gorilla Glue branded one. I mean, I glue the top and the bottom, but certainly these two pieces need to be glued together. There's nothing I need this for that this can't go along with it. Not yet. Let's fire this up on. problem. I want these little headlamps to show. So I want to do that. See, that's going to attach there, that's going to attach there. It's riding on hardly anything. Let's see how this thing holds out. I've got it on a place that's easy to remove. Let's try this. What I'll do is when I travel, I'm going to take this hot glue gun with me, so if there's anything to repair, I can repair it right then and there. This chair is fucking intolerable. Alright, this is the color of the door handles. And iron breaker is one down from this one. So we're going to use this to detail the Gatling gun. do some little bit of black lining on the new pieces that we added. I don't know what I'm going to do with the front bumper. That's on there pretty good. I don't think I'm going to color match this to the body. I'm going to leave it we're going to add some metallic stuff to it, but we're not going to color match that to the body. This is going to have stuff like lead belcher dry brushed on there. put the glasses on and look at this at a distance. Obviously, we still need to do rust to it. Looking pretty good. All right, we'll be right back in a moment, folks. Okay, I think the order that we did these in last time that worked the best was actually to weather first and then do the Rustafarian stuff. And these wheels didn't glue. That's not a big deal, but yeah, we just do it afterwards at this point. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It's got a good front to it. Looks like something that whoever drives this doesn't need to be around kids. Which, of course, you know, that's the right look for this game. You don't want well individuals. Okay. All right, let's get a big enough one for this, for the weathering. Say something like this one. three things here. When I was getting an airbrush, I'm like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity that I could be doing weathering like this with the airbrush. I was like, the weathering works better with the dry brush, at least for me. I'm better at it with the dry brushing for sure. All right, let's go to the mid-tone now. It's actually more fun to do the weathering on here than it is on tanks. Let's do this. Thank you. Wow. Son of a bitch. Damn you, Iraqi sand. This is a process that I think that if you take your time on it, it can make or break anything. So if you're like if you start throwing too much on there, you're not paying enough attention to detail, it's going to show. And now let's get the tones out here. chair is just impossible. Go for it. What's up, ma'am? I feel like this thing should have almost like a puddle of some juices here. Nearly done with this thing, and then this will be car number 20. Yeah, these War Master paints really are something else. Make things a lot easier. There's some kind of oil spill or something like that. You gotta keep all those parts lubricated inside this this chain gun. It's gonna seize up on you. All right, folks, that's gonna wrap this one up. If we can call this one complete. And this is Jerry Skids. All right, folks, well, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys